Good morning, everyone. TGS here. Have a happy new month. Do you actually say that between you? It's like it's May in Greece. Like every first of May, we just go out and grab flowers, mainly margaritas. Not the one that you could actually drink. That would be a very happy occasion for me, at least. But yeah, we just go out there and get flowers, and we have this silly saying, like we say, like we caught the May. Yeah, yeah. I like my traditions. It's no big deal. Like everybody should love their own culture. I just realize how silly those things might sound like outside of my small Greek bubble. But anyways, real talk here. Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out. I know like plenty of people might be feeling like super hyped right now. Sure, yeah, I'm excited as well. It's like I'm old enough for me. It doesn't really feel like as magic as it was, when the NES came out or when the Mega Drive came out, or the Game Boy. The Game Boy was a really real thing for me because I also got it as a kid. So yeah, it's kind of different. It's like new console comes out. Yeah, uh, I get excited about games though, like because growing up I realized it's not just about the system. It's mainly because of the games that you actually love the systems. It's the way it works, really. And Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out. I really have no doubt that their first party titles, which is almost always the reason why the fuss is going on in the case of Nintendo, because we know how they treat their IPs, right? They treat their IPs very respectfully. We got to hand this on Nintendo. You know what's coming up because I'm not gonna pull any punches, Nintendo. No, no, you can't expect that from me. Uh, but yeah, we have to be fair here and say, at least I love the way they treat their IPs. And I don't mean the way they treat the fans that involve their names or use their developer skills to make fan games because they actually go after them. Like I remember this guy making like a fan made game of Super Metroid, and they actively went after him. I don't really know like if they went to court with him. That would sound disgusting, but I'm pretty sure that they took down the ROM. I'm pretty sure, and I don't like them for that. I bash them for that all the time. But I actually like how they treat their IPs. Like let's just say when Tears of the Kingdom came out, the game was already done and ready a year before it was released, and they were just keeping that game in, polishing the bugs. Lots of respect to Nintendo for that. Not so much respect though about the price tags that we're going to be talking today, and those prices for the first party titles, because we have to make it clear here, nobody else around the first party development announced prices like that. They announced some prices over $85, $90. Those prices are insane. For this Donkey Kong game, those prices sound fucking insane. But let's backtrack a little bit because I want to talk like more spherically. Like I don't know how you say that in another language because I'm thinking kind of Greek right now. But the thing is that we act a little bit fanboyishly. And what I say by that is like I see so many people going after each other's throats, on each other's throats, in various social media, Facebook, you name it, it doesn't really matter, pretending that one is better than the other, pretending like Sony are the good guys or Microsoft are the good guys and Nintendo are the bad guys. Let me tell you what, they're all quite sus. And if you wait and listen to what I have to say, you'll actually realize exactly my point here. My point is that this whole price tag going up didn't start with Nintendo. Nintendo already had their prices up. Like they no, actually their prices never really lowered on their first party titles. I've seen plenty of physical copies of other third party development teams go down. Hogwarts is down at this point. Like everybody, like on every platform, this game is down in price. Uh, that's just an example, okay? And just for reference, I'm showing you like my entire library of Nintendo Switch games. That's all. Like 5 years, that's all I got. And three, four of them I never really bought. I got them as gifts, but and two of them are actually four. I didn't pay for them. Out of these four, I got them as bundles for the Switch when I got the Switch. Uh, like let's start low. Like oh, they have the most expensive physical copies. Nintendo. No, they don't. They actually charge more or less the same, or at least up to this point, they were charging more or less the same as anyone else. Uh, let's take this one for instance. This one is like a deluxe edition, like not actually deluxe, but a special edition of this game, Shredder's Revenge for Nintendo Switch. I got this for 40 euros. Is it a AAA title? For me, it is because I grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's a fucking awesome Dotemu game. And we'll get back to that because we need also to talk as our age range, above 35. I wouldn't even go to my age right now because I already feel old, but I don't fucking care. Anyways, we'll get back to that. Those like are 40. This one, even though it's a Zelda game, I'm not really sure it cost me, I think it was like 50 something. Brand new, mind you. This one, yeah, it's a first party one. I didn't pay for that because it was actually bundled with my system. Yeah, this one is the same thing as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mario Maker, the same. I didn't pay for it. This one, I think I paid like somewhere around 50. Metroid Prime, I paid. Did I pay 40 for that? Yeah, I didn't pay full price for that either. No, I think that one was not, even though it is a first party game, it's a remake, and I think it was somewhere around the range of 40. And this one cost me 40. And this one with a figure, with the art book inside, with the case, a metal case with a CD, with the music from the game, and the game. All this cost me like 40. Why am I showing you this? Because there's, like I said, there's too much fanboyism going on, and people going at each other's throats, and people forgetting that the same people that are bashing Nintendo are, a big chunk of them are those same people that are willing to pay $250 for a game that's deluxe edition and just has a figurine in there. That's disgusting. You don't do that. You're partially the reason why these guys are bringing their prices sky high because they know you're willing to pay. I'm not willing to pay. I pay for lots of stupid stuff. You can see behind me, but forget Arcade One Up because they also had their shot with me, and I'm kind of growing tired of them. Most of the stuff I have here on the back are secondhand. You know what that means? That Nintendo or Sega, unfortunately, never got my money on that when they came out. Some private seller got their money. You get what I'm saying right now? So I'm not willing to pay Nintendo the insane prices they ask for Donkey Kong. I will not do it. But I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. Like I was saying, that didn't start with Nintendo. That actually started with Sony. People seem to forget that right now on toy store shelves, other stores, electrical department stores shelves, we have Wukong the Black Myth for $85. Nobody ever talks about that. We have Until Dawn. It costs more than $70 for PS5. Until Dawn, an 8-year-old fucking game. That's absolutely disgusting. The physical copy on the PS5, nothing changed in this game. 70 something, I think. $70. Maybe a little more. I'm not even joking. Ghost of Tsushima, the PS5, which apart from it being enhanced, I don't know any other differences. And don't get me wrong, this isn't a phenomenal game. This is most possibly the best game I played like in the last 10 or 15 years. I know I'd sound like hardcore right now, but yeah, that's me. I love this game. $60 for a game that's 5 years old. So they're more or less the same guys we're talking about here. And yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, but they also bring down their prices with limited offers. I don't fucking care. You know why I don't care? Because right now the price is exactly what I said it is. And if I wanted to buy it right now, which thankfully I don't, because I already own it, the prices is up there. And I don't know about you guys, but when we're talking about new games that come out right now, those games lose steam as time goes by. So 3 years from now, if it's a lower price, I don't care. There's something new that came out, and I know I kind of sound like the wrong person to tell you this because I have all these old games that I'm going back to get those, but those are different kind of value for me, different kind of situation. Most of them are classics. Most of them are never really tried. It's not something was advertised right here, right in front of me, and 3 months after that, something new comes out. It's a totally different thing. Don't bring retro into that. You would never understand. We need to do multitude of videos to help you understand that. What I'm getting at right now is, okay, it's 5 years. It's been 5 years. Ghost of Tsushima is practically the same price. Nobody talks about that because they have limited time offers, you say. Let me tell you something else. And this is the last thing I'll say in favor of Nintendo. And I'm not even sure if it is in favor of Nintendo because I'm using this kind of against them, actually. Do you know how much a Blu-ray costs for Sony? The cost of production of a Blu-ray is somewhere in between $2 to $4. I'm guessing if they're getting this in bulk, which they do. I mean, they're a huge company, right? It costs something in between $1 to $2 for them. Nintendo pays 60% at least more than that to have their cartridge media. And that's a fact. You can check that anywhere you want. Their media, that little cartridge we get in their physical copies, is 60% more expensive than Blu-ray, which makes absolute fucking sense. Blu-ray is a piece of shit. It's a 16-year-old media. Basically, it's even older than that because its base is the CD, okay? And we all know how vulnerable that is. We all know that's a piece of shit. Take your Blu-ray and leave it out there in the elements for a couple of days and come and thank me later. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. Truth is, it's a fact that the media that Nintendo is using is far more expensive. And yet, they managed to keep the prices, for the most part, the same on most games. On 99% of the library, the same prices. If their first-party games like Zelda and Donkey Kong and Mario are more expensive, it's kind of their thing. It's what we tend to buy Nintendo Switch or Nintendo in general for, but we end up buying other games because we find these games too expensive. We end up buying maybe a couple of them, not all of them. That's their problem, not Nintendo's problem, not mine. And also, I know it kind of justifies or at least gives Nintendo reason to have their prices not drop as much on their physical media, but at the same time, it was their choice, that physical media. And it reminds me of the Nintendo 64 because they made the same ruinous choice back in the day. The same fucking ruinous choice. Everybody else was moving on to CDs. They opted for the cartridge because reasons. Yeah, of course there was piracy, yada yada, but PlayStation didn't lose from that. They actually kept going, and they had their piracy levels were over the roof. Nobody ever had physical copies, real physical copies of Sony. I remember that back in the day. Everybody was blank discs, copied. And yet they earned money. They kept earning money. Why? Because they made the wiser choice. Because people were flocking in to develop games for Sony because it was a much friendlier way. It would have much friendlier media for the developers. Far easier to develop games for. And people were alienated about the limited amount of space they had to work with Nintendo 64 games. So they lost. Plus, even back in the day, their cartridges were more expensive than Sony CDs. So we have the same thing going on. Does that remind you of anything? Yeah, it's the same ruinous choice. You did the same thing, Nintendo. And as much as I love that, in retrospect, like as a retro collector, I love the idea that Nintendo 64 actually works on cartridge media. I love it because I know it lasts in time. It holds up better. I know it. I've seen it. Can you find me a usable copy of Rondo of Blood right now? Yeah, that's what I thought. I can find you plenty of copies of Atari games that are 45 years old, still functioning. I have them right there. Okay? So there's no denying it. As far as these games go, physical copies, and I don't know how much we're going to be using them because it seems like they're trying to push the physical media out of the way. I don't know. I don't care. I grew up with those. But yeah, in terms of physical copies, physical media, cartridges are better. Cartridges are better, sure. But I also have to look at things as a customer. And like I said, even though I like the idea that the Nintendo 64 today and any Nintendo 64 out there is more it's potentially closer to the idea of still being perfectly functioning versus an average PlayStation. I kind of hate the idea that they opted to forget about the CD and just kept going with their own minds. Because when Nintendo decides something, they're like that. We're gonna do that. How can they be so great, such great innovators, and at the same time be like that when they decide something that's the best? I don't understand. I will never understand that. But yeah, the Nintendo 64 might be working just fine, but I would love it like to see its full potential back in the day with it working like with a CD, because as far as I'm concerned, it was a powerhouse. And Nintendo is doing the same thing, keeping themselves with that cartridge media. They have more expensive games. They can't lower the prices. They don't give you limited offers. It's possibly because of that, because they have to spend more money. But that wasn't my choice. That was their choice. So, are we helping anyone with that fanboyism? No, no, because you're painting like Sony and Microsoft like to be the good guys, and that seems like you're forgetting what they've done all these years. How they tricked you with the PS5 into buying a PS4 because they didn't have enough pieces manufactured. Do you remember that? In the quarantines, like 3 years straight, the console was already there, but nobody really had it. Fucking bullshit. You keep forgetting lots of stuff. Do you remember like the prices of the PS5 when it first came out? It's like, oh my god, who's gonna pay that kind of money for that console? And everybody ended up buying this console, and it's overpriced games over $80. Nobody ever broke a sweat about that. Painting Sony or Microsoft like the good guys, you're not helping. You're actually pushing them into doing what Nintendo does right now, because you're actually painting them in a nice light, which is not real. It's unreal. It's fake. You know it. They're just as sus as Nintendo, and maybe even worse in my books. And you're not helping. You're not helping. The only way you're gonna be able to help yourselves as gamers is make the right choice. What is the right choice? First of all, I'll talk as a 40-year-old, and I'm talking to everyone out there that's my age gap, that my age range. I'll tell you what, we have choices. Instead of going out there and buying Donkey Kong when it comes out, if you really still want to buy games, if you haven't really grown out of it, even though I don't think that's a thing. If you're a gamer, you're a gamer. Forget about it. But there are choices. You're that same boy that used to play Ninja Gaiden back in the day, damn it. Buy the new Shinobi game, the new Shinobi game that's coming out. Go ahead and buy the new Ninja Gaiden game that's coming out. Buy the new Marvel beat 'em up that's coming out. By Dotemu, the same guys that made Ninja Turtles that I have right here. An amazing game. Those cost $30. Not 90. You can use the same amount of money and buy 3 games. Better yet, at the end of the summer, Terminator 2 is coming out. Judgment Day, no fate. Wow. We have choices because we grew up with those things. Your kind of generation, I don't know if they're willing to do that, but we do. We do have a choice. Don't buy Donkey Kong. Go buy Terminator 2. Show them where you really want to put your money. That's the only thing you can do, and that's the best thing to do. Let those overpriced games rot in some kind of shelf. Don't be the kind of guy that spends $250 and then go like, yeah, Sony is the best. No, don't do that. Don't try to find the one company that does the worst at that one specific day and go after them pretending that you're the best and you're supporting a company. So companies don't support you. Companies want your money. Make your choice. It's your wallet. That's all I'm willing to say. That's all I wanted to say. You have a choice. Whatever age range you are, if you feel comfortable with old school games, it's fine. Like I said, you have a choice. We're a big chunk. A big chunk. I'm not going to say we're the majority, but we're a big chunk of that gaming industry, the ones who are actually paying money for Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft. If we stop dealing with their bullshit, they're going to think about it. We're not going to get anything out of going into forums and say, oh, Nintendo is bad, Sony is the best. You're actually helping them doing the exact same thing tomorrow. You're not helping. You're encouraging them to do the fucking worst. You're not helping. If you just go out there and accept the truth that everybody's just trying to take your money. Okay, feeding off your nostalgia of various things. Yeah, I know that sounds kind of like an oxymoron there because I was talking about nostalgia before, but $30? Hey, have you seen like Terminator 2? Judgment Day, the new one that's coming out. Have you seen that game? Like, it's everything I wanted as a kid. Of course, it feeds off my nostalgia, but it doesn't leech on my wallet like a freaking parasite. $30 I can take. Give me a fucking break. But instead of going after, I, as the stupid person I am, instead of just choosing to give like 90 for Donkey Kong, you know what I will do? You know what I'd rather do? And I know I'll sound stupid. I'll just go to Console Club. There's like this amazing video game store in Athens. Sells pretty much everything up from Atari to whatever. And I'll just ask them for that 120 euro copy of Resident Evil 2 on GameCube. That's exactly the way I want to troll Nintendo. I'm not giving them my money. I'm giving my money to second-hand games that actually could cost even more. I know I sound stupid, and I might actually not end up doing this. But that's my mindset right now. I don't want to give them money. Not for the first-party titles, no. I want to give them a message. Without yelling, without going in forums and say that Sony sucks. Like, hell, most of my stuff in this place are probably Sony-related. Even the console I'm making this video right now is Sony. But let me know what you think, guys, because this is a huge thing, and it's not something light. It's not something to be taken lightly. Prices have gone way out of their way. It's ridiculous what's going on right now, and like we're minimum wage people, everyday people. You see me, you see this right behind me. All that I have right here took me years to build, and I was very careful to what I was buying. Like most of my Sega games are somewhere in between the price of 10 to 15 euros. I never paid more than that. Those, I actually had loans to get a couple of those, like this Mortal Kombat and Pac-Man. I just paid Pac-Man like in full. I got it like just last year for my birthday. I'm not ashamed to say that. It's just the way it is. You know, I'm not rich. And you're not either. And that's fine. But you have choices. So give them a message, not by going out like, oh, you're a Microsoft guy, I'm going to kick your ass. No. No, in fact, Microsoft guys, you have to be a little bit more lenient with them right now because they're kind of backing up. They kind of know what's going on. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. I'm really not feeling paying like for that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've seen Nintendo Switch 2 functions. It actually seems like a pretty darn good system. Being able to play like handheld sounds like a really good deal, exactly like the Switch was. But yeah, I'm not giving that kind of money. Uh, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. So yeah, I didn't even say about that. Classically trained. I'm wearing that again. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope I didn't tire you too much. Let me know what you think down there in the comment section. Keep gaming and have a good one.